I got.
It's a great story.
It's really good. It's a sick story, bro.
The references are out of control.
Here's some stats. Let's talk about stats. Versus Terran.
Stats isn't in this tournament.
4-2.
Wow. He played 6 games against Terran.
Man.
But he is 60%, 66% win rate here.
He's only 20 years old. He's actually younger than Nathanius, too.
Wow. That is actually so young.
That is so young.
I'm jealous, actually.
Yeah, the rest of us here are pretty old.
So we had 3 picks for MMA. Well, 2 picks, excuse me, and then
What did you pick?
I mean, it's a big. I guess you have to go with like the bigger name here is MMA. He's got a lot of momentum behind him.
He's got 2 GSLs, man.
But if you were up there, the bigger name would be in control, and I would definitely bet against you.
Well, thank you.
Well,
also the bigger player.
actually, Jjakji's name has more characters and is therefore longer. He has literally a bigger name.
That's true. You can't actually argue with that logic.
You could go by syllables and try, but that's.
MMA showed impressive TBT at BlizzCon, which is, of course, the backdrop tournament for this. We're still in kind of the BlizzCon hangover period of time. And, you know, you guys are teasing me, rightfully so, and I was saying I think MMA had like he chose to peak at BlizzCon. Don't know that he could do that here, but so far I've been completely wrong. He's shown the same form. He's looking really good.
Well,
I agree. And, I mean, we did see him at win DreamHack Moscow, and as you said, do very well at BlizzCon. So, yeah, I think yesterday might have been a little bit of a hiccup, and we could see a better MMA today.
Yeah.
Well, once you reach your peak that you choose to have, the only way to go is down, right? So.
Or just create a bigger mountain, man.
I mean, by definition,
create a bigger mountain.
Just repeat.
Yeah, you can't choose to actually come back up as well.
Can you peak again? Can you choose to peak again?
There's some mountains that have 2 peaks, like a lower peak and a higher peak.
Like
but second place at BlizzCon, I would say, is the higher peak.
It could be.
He just got up there, and Life's flag was already there, so he wasn't the first.
Well, he's going to a higher peak at DreamHack winner now.
Or you could just go really deep on this and say that he's just declining from that peak much more slowly than the average StarCraft player. So he's still like quite high up there, just not at BlizzCon semifinal.
At quite an altitude. Still has to keep his jacket on.
He's making base camp at DreamHack winner.
Yeah.
Keeps with the winter motif.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic, isn't it?
Okay, finally we've killed enough time, ladies and gentlemen. No more meandering. Let's go ahead and get into this exciting best of 5 with your commentators, Artosis and Nathanius.
Thank you just so much, In Control. That was some fantastic desk hosting. It is a great day. And I am just so excited for this TVT. I cannot wait. It's going to be a best of 5, guys. And it looks like our map pool is going to be Catalina, Foxtrot, Merry-Go-Round, Nimbus, and King Sejong Station. So we're going to go ahead and jump into that game and get this going. Nathanius, on Catalina, what would you say about these spots?
Well, the spawns definitely favor Jjakji.
Yeah.
Mostly because the weird thing is like you can kind of fly from the natural of MMA to Jjakji's main, but you also have that big airspace. Although actually getting to that airspace from the left spawn is a bit trickier for Jjakji.
So would you say that it is who favored?
Oh, it's probably going to favor our red Terran player in the left spawn, representing Team My Insanity. Of course, he is Jjakji. I'm smooth.
That was good. You're smooth. You're getting good at this.
When you work with In Control, you have to.
Yeah, no, that's true. You got to roll with the punches with that guy. But looking down here, Nathanius, did you know that olives are technically fruits?
You know, I think the people that worry about that stuff are probably also the same people that can't appreciate a fine steak, Artosis. But I'm sure you would also be argued that point by our blue Terran in the southeast, representing Team Acer MMA.
Wow, you're bulletproof right now.
Can't believe you tried to pull olives on me.
I did. I thought that was a good one too. I thought I'd be able to catch you off guard. You're like,
freeze up like a deer in the headlights, Artosis. Well, if there's one thing that I know about TVT, that thankfully we didn't miss anything dragging these introductions on, because everybody goes gas first on Catalina.
Indeed.
And yeah, both players have gone gas first, by the way, just to make sure we clarify that. So 3-minute factories, nothing super crazy.
Did you watch Marine King's group in Hot 6 Cup?
No, I was traveling.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I was too. I didn't get to see it yet. I was just wondering if he's still going for gasless expand.
I've actually heard he did some really weird stuff against Protoss, but I didn't catch. I wasn't sure actually any TVTs that he had played. But Gasless is still pretty ballsy on these maps.
Yeah.
I mean, Gasless expands. Forget the gas first builds. Like if you go even just Barracks expand or CC first, Reaper openings can really mess you up still.
And in fact, we do see a Reaper from MMA here. Something we didn't see him do last time on this map against Pol. What do you think he's doing this for? Just to kind of mix it up against Jjakji?
So this popped up quite a bit in the last couple of months. I'd say that the most prolific games that you're going to see are, I believe, Innovation busted the style out against Cure, and we saw Flash use it against Tasia at IEM Toronto. Like, it lends itself very easily to go into that starport with Banshee. A lot of players like 4GG will use this to go into mech-style builds, and I get a very Hellion Banshee or Hellion Raven mech-ish feel from this opening, mostly because you get that Reaper fast out to scout, but you don't have as many Marines. You're generally less likely to be aggressive with your forces on the ground. But in plainest terms, in case both these players completely prove me wrong and go bio, MMA just wants to be able to scout still, because if his opponent goes gas first, it's important to know if it's a Hellion drop or a Banshee.
Yeah. Well, I'd actually be pretty surprised if he did go for mech. MMA has always been very much a bio guy in this matchup, and especially on this map, I would say, like, I am one of the biggest proponents of going mech as often as possible, but I feel like this map, has so much drop area. It could be very difficult to truly pull that off against a great aggressive Terran like Jjakji or like MMA.
Really surprised he's actually able to catch that Hellion. A bit of a sloppy mistake from Jjakji. Just losing that. Oftentimes when you follow this gas first, like the Reaper comes into the main, and okay, killing that, definitely nice. I don't actually think he got to see that starport, which is, it's not a huge deal, because seeing the Hellion already told him that he was playing against gas first, because there's no other way you'd have a single Hellion that early on. But yeah, I think MMA's setup, he does not have enough energy for a scan. He'll have one kind of around the time the Banshee gets to his base. But look at the way his units are spread out in the minimap. Like, he should be able to see anything that's coming towards his base from at least the south side of Jjakji.
And he is actually going for that Raven to go with his Vikings. So that was something that you were bringing up yesterday as well, as one of the possibilities with these gas first openings.
Yeah, and I'm very curious to see what MMA does with this reactor as his barracks completes. If we're going to see him go into some Hellion production, it does look like it. So this is kind of what I was alluding to. Like, a few players really made great use of this build, and you can do a lot of very heavy Hellion pushes with this type of opening. 4GG actually wrecked both MMA and Pol at DreamHack Stockholm with a very similar opening to this. The only weakness, of course, is right before that Raven comes out if a Banshee gets into your base. But Jjakji, he actually, important to note, never actually scouted the main base of MMA, so he's going totally the wrong direction.
Oh, man. That's actually really sad, because he's already cloaked.
That's when his Hellion got caught, too. Really, really important, because now there's almost no way that this should do any damage at all.
Yeah, he's going to have two Vikings, and he's going to have the Raven out. In fact, MMA seems to know exactly where this is coming in from. He's got his units sitting just perfectly to intercept it.
Yep, this is a nice spot to be in. As far as the expansions go, they're both timed out very similarly. So the difference as far as the follow-ups go, Jjakji is lining himself up to potentially go for a tank drop play, which is quite strong. And, it was super popular a few months back, but this weird thing happens when everybody dies to this tank drop, is everybody starts trying to work on how to make their builds counter it or be able to deal with it. Having a lot of Hellions to catch the Marines as they drop out, having those Vikings to deny the drop, very important, because Terrans are kind of getting a little bit better, and we really see a lot less of the forward tank pushes that made Hellion builds bad in the first place. So second factory coming up from MMA will definitely signify he's going for that mech.
Yeah, it'd be pretty surprising if it was bio with two factories, but I'm happy to see him actually going for mech. How often do you actually see MMA go for this type of style?
Rarely. I haven't seen him do it in TVT in an awful long time, but he pulls out occasionally versus Zerg. He did it versus Solar in the Fragmite Masters, but for TVT, it's tricky, because this still, you could say that this is mech, but MMA may be thinking down the line, I'm going to start Blue Flame as soon as I can afford to, and I'm going to do a really big Hellion push with my Vikings, like 4GG style, and not really play for the late game. But here comes that drop with the tanks and Marines I was discussing earlier. He has the Raven as well. He can drop auto turrets to help tank, and if you pull SCVs against this, you're going to have a bad time.
Indeed you are, and in fact, look at this. The two reactors going to be able to be targeted down so easily. He's starting to kill off some depots as well, and MMA is taking a lot of damage, but in the meantime, he is doing a Hellion drop over in Jjakji's base, trying to kill off some SCVs.
The problem is, I mean, Jjakji's production is capable of actually taking out those Hellions, and MMA has to bring absolutely everything over here to try to fight this off. The tanks are still alive, Medevac's still healing these Marines, and all the SCVs get pulled, but these auto turrets continuing to lay waste to this Terran force. The Vikings will land, and yeah, maybe you clean this up, but oh, this is, this is not a fun place to be for MMA. Jjakji got a lot of damage in. He killed only 5 SCVs actually of Jjakji.
Well, 16 SCVs lost here for MMA, unfortunately. In the meantime, we do have Jjakji going into just regular bio-tank, it looks like. And I feel like when you get some nice damage on your opponent like that and you're going bio-tank, the player that's going mech is going to have a really hard time ever taking a third, ever moving out, even defending against the harassment that you're going to be putting on.
Yeah, this little move out from Jjakji's bit bold. The Hellion count was completely reset, but MMA still managed to squeeze out 7. Blue Flame is too far away to actually kill all these Marines going up a ramp, but he actually doesn't, because he caught a glimpse. Okay, he sees the tank, knows he needs to pull back, and MMA does have his own tanks coming out, so defending this is possible. There's no medevacs with this army just yet for Jjakji. He has a single medevac now making its way over there, but even that is a pretty slow process. With the air control that MMA has, he shouldn't, he should actually be able to hold this off.
Yeah, I don't foresee him dying to this, but I love that Jjakji is moving around, seeing if he can get some damage done. You mentioned a lot about sieging up that main base production, but it looks like, oh my god, he's going to sneak up the ramp. MMA out of position. A great move by Jjakji.
Yeah, really nice play here from Jjakji to really just catch, as you said, that position on him. And yeah, the medevac might get picked up so he can try to move his tanks through the high ground, but these Marines coming in here, killing that refinery, that delays all that gas you need to actually make a mech build work, and at the same time killing workers when MMA, he already lost a significant number of them in this game.
Well, looks like he is going to go ahead and try to bust this for now. Scans on that high ground, kills one of the siege tanks. Very well done. In the meantime, the SCV's coming out, and this will get cleaned up, but once again, losing a few SCVs, and of course, that gas, the natural, slowed down significantly.
Only lost 3 workers in all of that, so not the worst thing ever. He's still down by 10 SCVs total. Jjakji's moving out with another push, and Stim only halfway done, so shouldn't be able to break in with that, but he really just faked MMA out. He got him to move those tanks into a very unuseful position.
Yeah, he juked and jived there, really. He's like, oh, I'm going this way to tank your man. Oh, no, I'm not, silly guy.
Yeah, it was a great bait. I would rate probably 8 out of 8 on that one.
Great bait, 8 out of 8.
Yeah. And now Jjakji gets to take his third base behind this because as the bio player, you have that mobile force thanks to Stim and these medevacs. MMA's going for a counter drop play, but a drop is going to actually go inside the base of MMA. Once again, just really trying to abuse the positioning and the slow-moving army that Mech has.
Well, that is exactly what he's doing here. Picking up once again with this medevac, dropping on top of another siege tank, but actually loses the medevac before getting units out. A little bit of a mistake there by Jjakji for sure.
Yeah, well now he's pushing into the natural again at the same time. The Hellions are going to land in the main base of Jjakji, but SCV's going to surround. Marauder picks it off, and Jjakji's actually kind of just manhandling him a little bit so far. MMA, you can't trade very effectively when you're playing mech with really small numbers of units like this. You need to build up a strong core of like 30, 40 supply to lock down against pushes, and Jjakji's just constantly hitting him left and right. And with the third base, he's have access to enough economy to just power out enough units, I think, to make it borderline impossible for MMA to ever even leave 2 bases if the game even went that long.
Yeah, it's looking 36 SCVs to 55. He's only got 3 siege tanks. MMA doesn't even have missile turrets here, so he's trying to just patrol around with 2 Vikings to stop drops. It's like, I don't know how you're supposed to hold on against anything. I don't know how you're supposed to get aggressive against anything, and we see once again a move in here from Jjakji.
Yep, another drop play, picking up his Marauders, keeping them well spread out, picking off tank after tank, and another one getting very low, does pick that off as well. And when you're playing mech, and you've only got 2 tanks at the 16-minute mark, you're not having a fun time. No. The production for Jjakji is still looking great. He's building tanks himself, he's getting his medevac count up, he's continuing to build Marauders, 4 Marauders at a time, and we all know how well those trade against tanks in small numbers. It's so much easier to just spread them out.
Yeah, you can just kind of sacrifice units into siege tanks all game long. You can even trade it a little bit of a deficit against siege tanks because you're obviously going to have a better economy than the mech player. And really the whole backbone of the army is those siege tanks. Until the mech player gets a lot of supply, I'm talking 140 plus, it's very hard for them to move out and do anything. And a big bunch of that has to actually be siege tanks.
Yeah, it's been a lot of aggressive drop play this game. Jjakji getting 2 more medevacs ready just north of the main base. The Vikings are here, though. Medevacs are quite low, so we'll be forced to drop these into action. It was pure Marauder, so no Marines to help clear those Vikings out. And MMA, if he wants to win this game, he has one of the. He's going to have to go through probably one of the slowest recoveries that we've seen in a TVT in StarCraft, and this map does not help that at all.
But mech is the type of unit composition where those recoveries can happen, so I don't know, maybe he slaps down a few drops in a row and Jjakji gets a little bit over-eager to end the game. That would be one way he could do it, but in the meantime, we do have Jjakji hitting into the natural once again. Oh my god, this is a huge amount of damage. SCVs being pulled, and so many of them will end up going down.
Yeah, even dropped forces onto the tanks on top of the ramp, denying any sort of protection. And there's just too many Marauders here. You're not going to be able to pull SCVs and break this. Landing the Vikings isn't going to do the trick for you. You have no economy in your natural. Your opponent's on 3 bases. This is it. GG. Jjakji takes game number 1 against MMA after, I mean, that's TVT, man. He built a huge advantage off of the way that his opening played out for him. The follow-up to that opening was equally as good, and MMA never got comfortable. And even the focus of those builds, the really quick blue flame when you play around with a lot of Hellions, he lost that tech lab so early on, he never even got blue flame in that whole 20-minute game.
Yeah, that's quite true. Well, MMA going for that mech composition he doesn't normally use, not quite being able to do it. I would say I really don't want to see him do that again, to be honest. I want to see him stay on more of the biocentric play that he's shown he's just so good at.
Yeah, it's